There's so little away.
We are in God's house.
Well, then you better sort out your door policy, because she is well from the dark side.
For 44 years, viewers have been hooked by the comings and goings on Coronation Street. But there's only one family that has survived since the very beginning.
You couldn't have Coronation Street without the Barlows.
The Barlow family album contains some snaps they'd probably rather not see again, but that we can't get enough of.
I always think the Barlow family are a cross between the Addams family and the Osborns.
Stupid girl!
Well, she gets a hug and I get a slap.
I don't think you can get much more dysfunctional than a bigamous son and a daughter who sells a baby.
Are you coming to bed with me?
For decades, we've laughed with them, we've cried with them. And by the looks of it, half the country has done lots more besides with them.
It's never boring.
Bring it on!
I was 18 when I came into the show, and that's been my life. I'm now 50, and I'm not right.
It all began just as the 60s were about to swing, the decade that brought us the Beatles, Bobby Moore and the Barlows.
The street started when I was about 7 years old, and I remember watching the first episode.
1960, 9th of December, live episode, remember it well.
We're not good enough.
Look, I never said a word and he started.
Look, Dad, can't we have 1 meal in peace for a change?
Now you know.
All I knew was Ken was a student.
That's all you think about, isn't it? I still think I'd hear that for the rest of my life.
I was only going to do 13 weeks and I was going to get on with my career. One did not imagine it was going to run for 44 years. This is my life.
Well, some people might
think crummy job in a crummy town.
They would easily be able to...
God knows how I came by it. If someone had said, here's a 43-year contract at that time, I don't think I would have signed it. This wasn't the idea. It wasn't the idea at all. The idea was success, achievement, satisfaction.
Of course, Ken never did move away from the street, and one of the main reasons? A girl who caught his eye back in 1979.
Oh, well, I'm glad they've gone. There are certain things that you don't like to ask for in front of other people.
Mr. Barlow, it's not that kind of a shop.
A date.
When Deirdre first came into the street, she was only in it for one episode, and she was just this sort of dolly bird in a pub.
What do you do for a living, Chuck? Well, I'm resting at present, between engagements.
The eagle-eyed amongst you might notice there's something missing.
It's the glasses, isn't it?
The glasses were nothing to do with me. Initially, I'd wear glasses for rehearsal, and then when it came to the actual recording, took them off, and the director said, oh, I think you're making a big mistake. I really think they look great. I think they're good for the character. She is the glasses. Well, she's more than that, but she's a lot of us, the glasses.
In fact, we had a scene when I had to start wearing glasses. When I got them out, they were big lenses like Deirdre, and it looked ridiculous. We were both sitting there with big glasses on.
Ken and Deirdre Barlow took up their rightful place at #1 Coronation Street, and in due course, a new generation of Barlows emerged to terrorise Weatherfield.
You grow up with Coronation Street. Well, I certainly did. And to get your head around the fact that you're actually going to be part of a family that's been around longer than you have on the television is just crazy.
It's so good to see you, Peter.
And you? Yep. Never in my wildest dreams I thought I'd end up playing Ken's son. I remember one time I grew my hair a little bit, and Bill said, in between takes, he said, it looks good, your hair, you know. What you want to do, though, is just grow your fringe a bit and sweep it across. And I thought, oh, no. He'll have his Christmas jumpers out next, so here, get that one on, and I'll be drinking halves.
The Barlow kids have certainly caused the family plenty of heartache.
Why, Tracy? Why cause all this upset?
But through the good times and bad, Ken and Deirdre always seem to come back to each other.
It does feel strange when we're not together. And the writers have said that they've always thought of Ken and Deirdre as a couple, even when they weren't a couple.
She wants to go out and be crazy, but she's not happy when she's going out and being crazy. She's actually happy with Ken.
Right. Mike, exciting, unpredictable.
Oh, and am I that unexciting, that dull?
No!
We've had some wonderful scenes together, really shouting and screaming.
Mike and Deirdre, love triangle. It took over the nation at the time.
Pack your bags and go to Baldwin. Or wherever the hell you like.
The number of times that they nearly got back together and then one or the other of them would suddenly have another affair.
I've missed you. Neutral.
Ken?
Hello?
Ken and Deirdre have actually cheated on each other 5 times.
Deirdre! Sorry. Didn't mean to disturb you.
In 1999, they got back together once again, and so far, so good.
Maybe we'll get it right this time.
Well, I promise you this. It won't be for want of trying.
Whatever the future does hold for Ken and Deirdre, one person is bound to have a say in it.
Blanche, the ultimate mother-in-law.
Well, there might be now you can do, you useless lummox.
Deirdre loves her to death, but she also finds her totally exasperating.
I know for a fact that if I dropped dead tomorrow, she'd have a spring in her step for the rest of the year. That is an awful thing to say.
They always used to give Blanche the last line.
Is that Deirdre up there?
Yes.
What on earth does she look like at her age?
And somebody certainly seems to have inherited Blanche's, frankness.
Talking about me?
No.
Tracy is a granddaughter, all right.
And she had been such an adorable child.
Now then, come on, love, let's get this lot cleared up. I want to set the table.
In the days when she was growing up, it was always painting by numbers here on Tracy level, or she's up in the bath or whatever. There was no signs of anything going wrong.
I'll see.
I'm a vegetarian.
Just when I want it, thank you.
I remember one moment when she suddenly had to dress up and put makeup on and become a teenager.
Well?
Bill and I watched her come down the stairs from makeup with all this glam on, and we were just kind of, oh my God, that's our little girl.
What have I done now?
You haven't done anything, love. You've just grown up, that's all. She was always a difficult teenager.
What do you heard me! I hate you, you rotten cowie tart!
And then suddenly she evolved into this wonderful monster.
The Tracy we all know and love to hate arrived in 2002 in the form of Kate Ford, the 4th actress to play her.
I'm back for good.
Tracy's such a bitch.
Is who the real father is?
Tracy is an absolute cow. She's evil.
But yours bob up and down like that. You're like a nodding dog. Brassy little cow. She even snaps like a dog.
She really kind of like has those lines and she really can give it with pure venom.
When it comes to screwing money out of people, she does it very well.
Oh, as opposed to just screwing people.
Kate has got such that great evil look that she does for Tracy.
It's like... I don't think Tracy's evil at all, but I think it's to do with the fact that she's quite insecure, really.
No man worth his salt wants out to do with me. You know, I have to take drugs to stop my own kidney from rejecting me.
The problem with Tracy Barlow is that she's actually really, really easily bored. And so she makes all these dramas for herself to feel important.
You and him in bed together alone. I bet you can't do it.
You're on.
How much?
A penny.
A penny?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be doing it for the money, would I?
The unwitting victim of Tracy's wicked imagination was poor Roy Cropper.
I would love to have been there at the meeting where someone said, right, I've got this great idea, which like Tracy drugs right.
Come on, drink it. Looks like you need it.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
And having their love child, we were a little bit sceptical about it.
Are you coming to bed with me?
Of course I am. Let's just get your clothes off first, eh?
I think most people felt quite chuffed for Roy that he finally managed to bag himself a good-looking bird.
Breakfast ready.
That was one of the funniest scenes. We were all having breakfast, and there's Roy Cropper coming down the stairs with his shoes in his hands.
Good morning.
Cup of tea?
No, thank you. I've got to open the cafe. Bye.
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 You are evil! You're a monster!
Of course, nothing had actually happened between these unlikely bedfellows, thank the Lord, but Tracy's little game isn't over yet.
But I'm pregnant, Hayley. Whether you like it or not. And Roy's the father.
I now pronounce you husband and wife.
And so Tracy marries Roy so that Roy and Hayley can buy Tracy's baby, but the baby isn't really Roy's anyway, and then Tracy decides she wants to keep her baby. You really had to be there.
Just gets weirder by the minute.
There have been more members of the Barlow clan than any other Coronation Street family, but perhaps it's not surprising Ken and Deirdre certainly do get around.
I'm the product of you two and your musical chairs love life.
Ken isn't a Lothario at all.
What is exotic dancing, and I use the word advisedly, got for a girl like you?
Ken, sir, he's a good-looking man.
I like to think he's a reasonable-looking guy.
He's kept himself in shape.
Excellent pies, madam. My compliments to the chef.
I think he's quite attractive to women.
Marks out of 10?
9. Deirdre's done a little bit here and there, you know.
Behind the glasses and the perm, she's a real vixen.
So which one has had more romantic liaisons, Dishy Deirdre or Casanova Ken?
Ken's no angel. I think Deirdre's probably had more, but I might be wrong.
This may take some time.
Marion Lynn. Norma Ford.
Billy Walker.
The headmaster's daughter.
I love you.
Fancy you.
I know. Ray.
Will you marry me, Evan?
Who?
Yeah, I'll give you a lift.
There's no need.
Peggy Bunn, who's she?
Never said there was.
All right.
What did I do to her? Don't tell me.
Dave Barton. Can't forget him, can I? I married him in real life.
Sally Robson.
Oh.
But wasn't she his secretary? Deirdre.
She was having a relationship with Ken and with Mike at the same time.
I suppose you said you were at a Tupperware party.
And you know what your trouble is, don't you, Ken Barlow? The blooming sex maniac.
You're not kidding. There's more.
Who was after that?
Deirdre.
Oh, Samir! Forgotten all about Samir.
Samir, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
Wendy Crozier.
Oh. Dev, I can't believe we just... And then she got back with Ken.
They don't need any Viagra, any of them.
What do they say? The sins of the father are revisited by the son, so on it goes.
Ken may have had plenty of wives, but at least he married them one at a time. We hadn't seen much of the eldest Barlow's son, Peter, since Ken had abandoned him as a child. But 29 years later, Peter returned, now played by Chris Gascoigne, for another Barlow storyline that would have the nation gripped.
Peter!
Hiya, Dad!
People really like the character, you know. They kind of love to hate him, I think.
Have I ever told you lately how much I love you, eh?
Oh, yeah, you have, but I don't mind you telling me again.
OK, well...
I think a lot of men think it's easier to lie and keep the woman smiling than it is to put up with us going crazy at them.
Where am I? Well, I'm in the bowling alley, love. Where else?
I used to get letters and letters telling me that he was having an affair. I do love you, you know.
Yeah, I love you too.
I think there was a lot of men and women shifting around on the sofas in that time. It was really confusing for Chris because he was actually living a completely double life.
Lucy, I want you, you know? I don't want to lose what we've got. You know, I hope you don't either.
I used to get confused with Lucy and Shelley. Will you marry me? Lucy Richards, will you marry me? I used to come out with the wrong name all the time.
I must be mad. But yes.
The best one being when he married Shelley.
With my body, I honour you. All that I am, I give to you.
I called her Lucy. So that would have given it away a bit, wouldn't it?
Still feeling guilty.
But Peter's double life was about to come crashing down around him. 14 million people tuned in to see Shelley find out the truth.
Look, it was the happiest day in my life. Would you like to see mine? Your what? My wedding album. It wasn't such a grand do as yours, but it meant a lot to me at the time.
And then came the moment we'd all been waiting for.
Everyone, this is Lucy Barlow, Peter's secret wife.
Hello.
And this is Simon, Peter's secret son. Public have been waiting for me to just whack the little sod for so long. Chris was saying, oh, well, you know, she wouldn't really have hit me that hard. I thought, if you're a woman and you've been scorned that much, you could knock her into next week.
Well, I probably deserve that. Fine.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, that's all. I really enjoyed it, hitting Chris.
And if that storyline took the nation by storm, it was nothing compared with the moment the people of Britain showed just how much they love the Barlows.
The moment when I realised how big it had got was when my mother-in-law rang me and said, have you got News at 10 on? And I said, no. She said, well, put it on because you're on.
The Coronation Street storyline has gripped the nation for weeks. Even the Prime Minister had something to say when Deirdre Rashid was wrongly jailed for a crime she didn't commit.
The world's gone mad.
It all started when Deirdre fell for smooth pilot John Lindsay.
I really can't believe my luck.
Except he wasn't a pilot at all. He was a con man, and he landed Deirdre in a whole lot of trouble.
1 count of obtaining a credit card by deception. 1 count of procuring a mortgage by fraud. 8 counts of illicitly withdrawing...
These things do happen in life. Mainly women who end up in prison, it's because of some fella.
Have you anything to say?
I didn't do any of it.
Right. Take the defendant down, will you?
When we were filming those prison scenes, I felt like I was Ronnie Barker in Porridge. What are you in for?
Fraud.
Ooh.
But I'm innocent.
Sure you are, love. You don't mind me taking the bottom bunk, do you? One day, Anne was lying on the bunk bed. Well, she was like a weeping willow. She wouldn't stop crying. All this pressure about going to court was beginning to get to Anne.
But just as Anne and Deirdre began to lose all hope, they found a saviour, the great British public. The campaign to free the Weatherfield One had everyone jumping on the bandwagon. One Corrie fan even donated £5,000 to the campaign.
I wasn't expecting anything like the sort of reaction that it got. And that's when it gets scary. And you, so sitting in the middle of it all going, so they pretend. I wasn't sure if it was real or not.
Everyone got involved in it. That wouldn't have worked if they hadn't loved Deirdre. No one would have wanted to know.
Free Deirdre mania may have been over, but it did have a lasting legacy as it provided the Coronation Street producer with an idea for a whole new drama series.
That was the inspiration for Bad Girls.
There are 2 types of cons in here. Do you know what they are?
It came from me and Deirdre doing our little routine in cell.
Speaking of Bad Girls...
This is who the real father is. Bridegroom.
What did you just say?
After her surprise appearance at Karen and Steve's wedding, it was only a matter of time before Tracy got her comeuppance. Amy's christening was another Barlow bash set to go crash, bang, wallop.
The christening was never going to happen without a hitch.
You've made your dramatic entrance, Karen. Now get lost.
May I remind everyone that we are in God's house?
Well, then you better sort out your door policy, because she is well from the dark side, I'm telling you.
Vickers, I seem to spend my life in church and saying, I'm terribly sorry, we've got another punch-up in your aisle here.
Do something, Karen! Are you a man or a mouse?
I think the entire nation went,
yes! Did a little ring around just before my wedding, didn't you, Trace?
I fell over. I wasn't meant to, but they got so rough they knocked me over. But I got up again and carried on. They kept it in.
She cancelled my venue, my photographer, my cake.
Tracy. Everyone just stood there. But they did. I think they were just really shocked. Either that or secretly they hoped she'd die.
Look, can someone Somebody, please get her off me.
Steve doesn't want to know.
Ow! Kate was saying, she said, babes, you really kind of hurt me on that. And I went, did I really?
Okay.
She got way too into it.
Try any more stunts like that, and I will be booking your funeral. Do you get it? Now that is enough.
Now that is enough.
But we certainly haven't had enough of the Barlows.
I've lived here all my life. I've seen a lot of people come and go, a lot of changes, a lot of dramas down this street.
For 44 years, we've welcomed them into our living rooms and shared in the good times.
Your life is your life.
They've become a national institution, even though they probably belong in one.
I think if I was Campbell in real life, I'd have had a nervous breakdown a long time ago. I was just trying to work out where it all went wrong. I think there'll always be a Barlow around one way or another.
Here's to the next 44 years.
The future, Pierre.
Once a Barlow, always a Barlow.